So this is a rare moment where you see me without my earrings, my hair done, and my makeup on because it's 1:30 and I'm not too tired yet. And I realized I didn't do my daily video challenge thing today. So I kind of look like a little boy right now, but it's still me. I'm just not all dolled up. I'm admiring myself. Don't mind me. Anyway, day 4. Most difficult experience or experiences. Okay. I think a lot of people know this one, so it's kind of like, pointless to go into too much detail. Like, if you've been following my blog for a while, you should know it. If you haven't been, it's in my About Me, my FAQs. But I guess a quick summary of my most difficult experiences, since this is such a joyous thing to talk about. When I was 12, my mom was diagnosed with cancer for the first time, breast cancer. That was definitely the start of a lot of difficult experiences for me. It was really hard for me to deal with. Obviously hard for my whole family to deal with. I mean, it's cancer, it's not fun. She was in remission for 8 years before being diagnosed again last July. They thought it was a different kind, but it wasn't. And it was like in her hip. It was strange. But they said she's in remission again, so obviously I've been very happy about it. Doctors have been very, very optimistic. I mean, when I initially found out she was sick again, like, I was a wreck. I would just lay in my bed and cry, and cry, and cry, and cry, and cry. It was just unbelievable. And then being back at school and wanting to be at home taking care of her, I'd call her at least 2 times a week crying, like, I want to be at home, I want to be taking care of you, I want to be there, this is awful, I don't want to do this anymore. And I guess part of the difficulty there was that my roommates, who I've talked a lot about, weren't exactly very helpful to me. Like, there were a couple that were, but I developed depression and anxiety from going through that, and a couple other things I'll get to. So it was really difficult. I mean, I'm still dealing with it. I don't really feel my depression unless I'm at school, which is a little strange. I'm seeing counseling. I'm really stable. I'm like not the depressed that's like, I just want to die, life is pain, just everything sucks. I was a depressed that was like, I want to do things or go places or see people or do anything that I enjoy. I'm not happy, I'm bored. I was like a social recluse for a lot of the time. I just didn't want to do things. And I did cry a lot, and I was really tired. I constantly felt sick, that kind of depressed. So it was fun. But yeah, no, I'm doing better than I have been. The other really difficult experience I've went through, I've talked about, I have the whole story on my About Me, if you go follow the links, was I met a boy, I keep saying boy, I'm at an age where I should start saying man, or guy, or dude. I met a guy my first week of college, so my freshman year, which was in 08, and he was my first friend on campus, very open, very friendly. We got close really fast, made out. So usually I pepper that in to see if people are paying attention to my stories, but that's true, we did. Awkward. His name's Kyle. I felt really hard for him. Kyle ended up, he had an anxiety disorder like 6 million times worse than mine is, and he wasn't taking medication, unlike me, I am. And because he wasn't taking medication, it got worse. And he would usually go to me when he had panic attacks. So I would be up on school nights till 3, 4 in the morning. I remember one time I didn't sleep at all because I was up taking care of Kyle. And I wanted to, because I really cared about him. I wanted to be there for him. But it got to a point where he was like, oh, Tracy's around when I have panic attacks, and this means she's causing them, which obviously wasn't the case. So his panic attacks got worse, and he ended up being abusive to me. He threw a piano bench at me one night. He pushed me into a filing cabinet. He put his hands around my neck another time. He was very emotionally abusive for like 8 or 9 months. Verbally abusive, you know, that good stuff. So obviously incredibly difficult for me to go through. I don't think I properly dealt with it for a long time. I just kept pushing it aside. It was so difficult to deal with. Yeah, we don't really talk much anymore. We tried to be friends, but that didn't work out. I guess what further complicated it was, as I detail in the story, was we were both in the same Christian organization, and I decided to leave because the 2 adult leaders were not helping. They were making things worse. They were lying to my mom about what they were doing to help me, which was nothing. They were saying they were doing a lot. And they ended up promoting him to president of the organization. And a lot of people would turn their back on Christianity at that point, but I didn't. I mean, I just clung to God more. So, which is wonderful. I mean, my faith's a big deal. And I guess the third experience that was really difficult for me to deal with, and I'm going to end this video because it's already almost 6.5 minutes long and I need to go to bed, was when I fell for Tim, who I just raved about being single again. And I obviously am not going to go run to him with open arms, but, you know, kind of interesting. I met Tim last summer. I fell for him harder than any guy I've ever fallen for. Tim is also 5 years older than me, approximately, which is, you know, it is what it is. But the way I describe him to people is like he was a person, like even as a friend, I was waiting for to come along for a long time, and he finally did. He finally showed up in my life, and yeah, he was very open and understanding toward a lot of things I was going through. He was one of the first people I told that my mom was sick. He was very open and friendly, and he had a lot of my sense of humor, so we connected on that, a lot of my interests. Very sweet guy. I really, really thought things were going to work out with us, and I mean, they might still, but currently they are not, because I ended up telling Tim how I felt about him, and he handled it very nicely. He came back from a missions trip, and he was acting so strange, and I still don't know what happened with that. And he was like, I don't know how to be friends with you anymore. And I was like, okay, well, we can handle this, da-da-da-da-da. And I ended up coming back to school and getting an email from him telling me that he didn't think he could be there for me anymore, didn't really want to talk to me, and then he was dating somebody. And obviously I had a meltdown, like, at my desk, just cried for 6 hours, I think, that night, because, like, I don't think I've been in love with anybody, but if I have been, it would have been Tim. So yeah, no, I just, that was like the worst thing. It wasn't the worst thing, obviously my mom having cancer is the worst thing, but just that, plus my mom's health, plus like just people not being helpful on campus, plus schoolwork, plus work in general, I was a miserable wreck. I talked to a counselor about Tim forever, and you know, I'd be friends with Tim, but I'm gonna kind of wait for him to come along. I've expressed to him that I'd like to be friends with him again, so we'll see what happens. No, maybe I'll get an email. It's all like, oh hey, haven't talked to you in a while now that I'm single. Whatever. Okay, but yeah, if you want the full story of that, it's probably floating around my Tumblr somewhere. Anyway, this is almost 10 minutes long, so I'm gonna cut it right here. Thanks for watching me. Listen to this voice a lot. I really look like a boy right now. Okay. Promise I'm a girl. I promise that I am a straight girl.